And we're live. Welcome everybody to this Behind the Screen series tonight with Lenny and Andy from the NonOrigin platform. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
So as usual, we're gonna pass on the word to Andy, who's gonna give us an intro to the KO platform and to the series. Andy, off to you.
Hi. Hello everyone. Thanks for joining in as usual. These series have been going on behind the screens, have been going on for a while now, and we found them really enjoyable and giving a great insight into our artists. NonOrigin is a digital art marketplace. We're actually one of the oldest crypto art marketplaces, been around for 2.5 years, nearly 3 years now. I've got nearly 600 artists on. We love crypto art. We love working with artists. We sell multi-edition artwork, and we try and foster sort of a healthy community. Hence why we love doing these, reaching out with artists. And we also have a lot of content on our site, KnownOrigin.io, which includes journals, guest editors, artist spotlights, different types of collections. We've got a vibrant Discord where everyone gets involved, gives us feedback, lets us know how's it going. And we also have once every 2 weeks, we have a community call. So if you enjoy this sort of thing and hearing what's going on, drop into that. So we're always available, always here on Twitter, on Discord and Telegram too. So if you've got any questions, just reach out to us and I'm sure we can answer most of them. That's us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yes, I also invite everyone to share their comments tonight, question for us. So we'll be very happy to read them during our live conversation with Lenny. So without further ado, we welcome tonight Lenny to this Behind the Screen series. Andy, it's been a pleasure to see you, and we'll see you again soon on NonOrigin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good luck.
Okay, so Lenny, it's very great to have you here on this Behind the Screen. So I feel so privileged to have this conversation with you tonight. How are you, first of all?
Excited, kind of nervous. I've never been interviewed before, but I'm glad to have this opportunity. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Is this your very first interview you had?
Yes.
In this space? Really? Wow.
In any space, actually.
Oh, amazing. So I'm sure everyone will have plenty of questions to ask you. I do. So I want to start by telling a bit about your story. So Lenny and I had a brief conversation yesterday. And I was so amazed to see the incredible studio he has in the background. So tell us a bit about your place. Where are you located? And what is that the wall contains that we see in the background?
This is my little studio here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Actually, this was my sister's room, but then she moved out, so I took over and I made it my own. What you see in the background, in January of this year, I went to Japan, and in every museum, you could take like booklets or magazines, and in each museum I took like 5 or 6. My suitcase weighed like, I don't know. I had no clothes. Everything was this magazine, and then this is it. And behind my camera, I printed my works, so it's similar to that one, but on the opposite side. And it just keeps me inspired. I love this place.
It's really lovely. Yes, absolutely. And I also want to share a little story with everybody, if you allow me, Lenny. So in our conversation yesterday, you were saying that you currently study in Buenos Aires. And can you tell us what you're currently studying? Because you should all know that Lenny is also a very young and talented artist. So I don't know if you want to reveal your age, but I just want to let everybody know where you're studying and who are the people that you've been sharing the same university with.
Yeah, so I'm in the first year of a career called Image and Sound Design in la Universidad de Buenos Aires. And the several artists that are in this crypto space also study the same career. Like Frenetic Void, I think he finished it a few years ago. Oki Tomo, who is a friend of mine, who is the one who introduced me here, he's studied the same. And there's this artist collective called Crypto Arg, which I'm a part of, and a lot of those artists study the same in the same university too. So it's a nice community.
Yeah, it seems like there's a really nice hub there.
Yes.
What does
I'm
it make
19.
it so? And you are 19, yes. Thank you for saying that,
forgot.
because I think it's so great when young talented artists are joining the space and see that talent from such a young age is incredible. And who
Thanks.
knows how it's going to be developing in the future. So we'll be very happy to see how your career progressing. But what do you think makes it so special that Buenos Aires, for example, or Argentina as the whole country, it seems so many artists making a name, creating a name for themselves. What do you think is that?
Well, recently someone asked the same question on Twitter, and then an Argentinian artist.
I honestly, I didn't know.
It's okay. No, but it's funny because an Argentinian artist called Federico Bona, who's very good, answered economic crisis. So a lot in every country, right? It's difficult living off your art, but more here. So yeah, when you're an artist, it's very difficult to work in anything else, and Argentina is very obscure from the art world in general. So people are trying to create a name for from themselves and sharing their work. So this space, this crypto space, there's no boundaries. Your nationality doesn't really matter. So people found this opportunity and are taking it because it's amazing, actually.
And how did you become familiar with the crypto art space?
So as I
how
was
have you been
saying,
introduced?
As a Okitomo, who's an artist, I know him from. We went actually to the same high school together. So we are friends, and he once uploaded a story on Instagram, and I asked, "Hey, what's up with that?" And then he talked to me about it, and then he introduced me to this crypto art community, and I was fully committed instantly.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Everything.
Yes, I think it's quite mind-blowing when you experience this for the first time. So, and I always love to ask this question because everyone has a story to tell, and I think it's so fascinating to see how everyone responds to this kind of environment. But now let's talk about your art, because there's so many aspects about your works that I think really deserves to be shared with everyone tonight.
Would you like me to share the screen?
Yes, why not? Yes, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, so we have somebody actually asking a very interesting question that I was about to ask you as well. So I'm just going to share it here on screen. So we have Slane 2010 asking, man, you make some sick art. What is about the eye that you like so much? And I'm just going to add these on screen because, it just relates to this question so well.
So the eye, I mean, first of all, is one of the first things I learned how to do through a tutorial, and then I stick it in my first work. But then I realized it became kind of a character, or maybe almost an alter ego in my pieces. And it's easy to attach meanings to this eye, but I love that a lot of collectors or people I talk with gave them their own meaning. So, for example, in this piece, I made it in the beginning of this quarantine, and it's about the media and how people are, I don't know, maybe drunk by it. So it's decide that it's watching you and all society if they behave well and they stay home, but at the same time you're watching the news. I mean, in every piece, maybe it has a different meaning, but in the big scheme of things, I think it's maybe an alter ego almost at this point.
Mm-hmm. And have you ever asked people looking at your art what they feel about it?
Yes, always.
Do you like that to have
It's
that conversation, with people that look at your
I
art?
do.
Because I know artists, have different approach.
I do, but I don't in the sense of when you finish, when I finish a piece and then I release it, it's not long. It's not longer mine. Even if nobody buys it, when you finish a piece and you leave it into the world or the universe, it no longer belongs to me. So everyone is entitled to their opinion. If they like to share it with me, that's amazing. I love to read it and understand. But if they don't, that's okay too. So I don't feel like the pieces belong to me when they're finished.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to see that art as its own life, and it can live beyond us and among others. So I'm always curious to hear that from artists. So we have a couple of very interesting questions for you coming up. So we have Ariel Toshi asking, what is your preferred traditional artist or some of them? Can you name a few?
I mean, the concept of traditional art, it's very vague, right? I mean, if you
what is
when
traditional
someone
art for you? What do you understand?
I'm trying to think about it. I mean, instantly when you think traditional art, Renaissance painters come to mind. I think everyone does. So yeah, I had I had a really science facing education, but I had this teacher, an art teacher, which I'm really grateful for having her, and she was a really passionate student of Renaissance painters, and so I have a lot of you know Rembrandt and Rubens and Velázquez. I think maybe you can see behind me I have several Velázquez prints. So I think those are maybe some of my favorites. Caravaggio too. Too.
Mm-hmm.
So mainly Italian artists. I went to an Italian school, so we studied a lot of Italian artists. So I think those are traditional artists' favorites. But I think one of my favorite artists right now is this guy called James Turrell, which is very contemporary. He works with lights and everything. And I think like in 10 years, he's going to be a traditional artist anyway. So I'm going to say him.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's terribly fascinating, and I just want to share with everybody this little story from our conversation yesterday that we spoke in Italian. So you should know that Lenny is fluent in Italian and he's got Italian roots. So I was very surprised to hear that, because I'm always happy to hear about co-nationals around the world, and how that lives took off. It's brilliant. Thank you so much. Do you think you'll become a traditional artist, Lenny?
First of all,
just pressing fast forward, try and imagine that.
Before becoming a traditional artist, I think I need to become an artist first. So
fair enough.
That's a challenge in itself. I mean, like I started calling myself an artist, or people started calling myself an artist like a month ago because of this, because I earn money from art. Like, it's very weird. Like, I made art all my life with no intentions, and nobody called me an artist, and I didn't call myself an artist. And right now, when I made some money because art, people are calling me an artist. So it's weird that, But short answer is no, because I'm always looking for cutting edge technology and VR and making games. So I don't think, maybe the piece we're watching right now will become traditional art in a couple of years, but I won't be making traditional art, if that makes sense.
It does, yes. Thank you for sharing that. There's another question that relates to the way you create art. So we have Filippo here asking, hi Lenny, what music do you listen while you make your works?
That's a good question. I'm a musician also, so music is a big part of my creative, workflow, and I listen to literally everything. And two, I mean, I always give this example. My two favorite bands are Rage Against the Machine, which is a punk rock band, but then the other one is Morphine, which is a almost jazz band. So it varies. I mean, right now I'm listening to a lot of Morphine, a lot of Argentinian music. Um, there's this band, kind of electronic band called Fideos con Tuco, which means spaghetti with ragu.
Nice, tasty.
It's a duo, I think. They make electronic music. I listen to that a lot. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of everything. I can share my playlists if you want there.
Oh, that would be nice. We can tweet it, under this live. Maybe we can share everybody's music and Lenny's playlist, creative playlist. Why not?
That'd be fun.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I also want to take a moment to thank everyone here sending lovely comments. There's a lot of people saying that they love your work, and they send kisses from the UK and love, and they also say that they love ragu. So why don't we now go and see some of your other works so that we can have a look at the styles as well.
Maybe this one?
Nice, yes. I wanted to touch on, these work, but also the one about nature. So maybe we can...
Sorry, like this one?
Yeah, why not? And can you also enlarge the screen
yes.
on... I'm asking too much. I think bottom right, there's a...
It's just my phone is blocking the screen, so...
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to, pose attention now onto this work, because we had a look at this artwork yesterday, and there are a couple of elements that I wanted to highlight and ask you, Lenny, about it. So that seems to be a surreal element here. So we have these element of, the eye that comes back in your work quite often, which you have described already. But I wanted to ask you, what do you see, and what does it mean for you to immerse something that is so abstract and surreal into an environment that feels so close to humans? And it also transmits a lot of emotions, because we're looking at a field with lots of flowers and lots of life. And there are these two elements that can seem quite contrasting. So I just wanted to know how this artwork came about, and what does it make you feel?
So there's this concept which I really, really enjoy, which is the impact of the highly unlikable. I think I read it in some book somewhere, but it it left in my head, like bouncing around. So that's something that I have in mind always making my work. So this juxtaposition of nature and abstractism, it's not like aesthetic thing. It's more like I'm having trouble with English. Sorry. It's more like
Don't worry.
it's more like an impact thing, you know. So I like my work to have like strike you the first time you see it, and then keep the longer you look at it, you find more details or more meaning. So nature is a big theme I use in my work. I think, you know, just the fact of being human is nature in itself, you know. So it's like talking about death or relationships or you know, the typical themes you talk about in arts or society, for that matter. So for me, nature and it's really important to put in my works. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I answered your question.
I think, you know, a lot of people can relate to these work, and I can read the comments here in the live chat. And I definitely see that this piece talks to many of us, and maybe in different ways. But that's the beauty of art, that doesn't have to have one meaning. It can have multiple meanings, or it can just transmit an emotion to you. So
if you'd like, I can tell you what I feel when I
mhm,
I observe this piece. But always before releasing it or publishing it, I ask my friends or my family for their opinions, and everyone is very in this particular piece is very different. You know, in the one we're seeing before, it was kind of obvious about, you know, the media and the quarantine, but in this one it's very fascinating everyone's opinion or feeling about it. So when I my interpretation of this piece is what one thing that amazes me about nature, it's always there. It's kind of a force that it can't be stopped, and we as humans, you know, we watch it and we're amazed, and you know, you see a landscape that you like or a sunset and it's wow, a sunset, but it's just there and you're amazed by it. But humans tend to forget that we are part of nature, so we're amazing as well. I mean, all of our blood cells and our brain and how it works. So decide watching nature, being a part of it, but at the same time, it sticks out. You know, you want you usually don't expect them floating in nature, but the eyeball is a part of nature. I mean, it's from the human body, so that's why I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very coherent, you know, with the narrative that you are expressing with us tonight. And it's beautiful to see how this composition also is very well balanced in terms of colors, in terms of the structure of the work. It seems abstract, but at the same time is extremely complex, and it's complex and simple at the same time. I don't know, it's tricky to explain, but it feels very organic.
Yeah. Minimalism and having little elements in work, it's very, very difficult. Recently, I read a book from a Brazilian author, and the protagonist said, "Don't be fooled. Being simple takes a lot of work." So it's, you know, I think that phrase, that quote reflects that in some way in this piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. There's a few questions for you now, Lenny, so I'm just going to share them here on screen. So there's a question from Daniel saying, "Hi, Lenny, how does the Japanese art impact in your vision and in your art?"
That's my dad. That's my dad.
Your dad is watching, so he wants to know how Japanese art impacts on your vision and in your art. Thank you, Daniel, Dad, for asking this question.
So we went together to Japan, like I said, in January. So we went to all of these museums, and there was we saw like the most amazing expositions, and projections, and huge screens. But I think the pieces that fascinated me the most were Monet pieces. Like you wouldn't think that in Japan you would be like fascinated by Monet pieces, but and there's this little island in Japan called Naoshima, which was kind of an abandoned island, and some millionaire took it and decided to make it a huge museum and
Oh
hired.
yes, yeah, I heard about it. I've never been, but I've seen some
It's
pictures.
amazing.
Yeah,
And he hired an amazing architect called Tadao Ando. He's amazing, and he built all of these museums and these hotels, etc. And what's amazing about these museums is they have no artificial lighting; it's all natural lighting. And there's this exhibition. I think there's 4 Monet pieces, absolutely huge, colossal. Like I think they're almost 15 meters wide. Some of them, all lighted with natural light, and the exposition really made me think about how you present your work. Because in this space, you finish your work, it's in the computer screen, people see it, and it's amazing to be in a part of this new wave of art. But we were talking about traditional art, and I think a big part of traditional art it's how it's shown to the public. And when this pandemic is finished, I'm really really thinking about how to show my art, because from January in this Monet exhibition, I can't stop thinking about how's the optimal way to experience art. And I think this exhibition I'm talking about is almost almost the perfect way to enjoy art. It's a huge white room filled with natural light and these amazing huge pieces. So it's not how the Japanese art, but how the Japanese people think. That's why it sticks with me the most.
That's interesting. And do you see a similar way, perhaps, of showing digital art in the virtual environment? I know you're passionate about video games as well, so I just wanted to ask you that question and know what would you envision in terms of showing art and letting people engage with it online. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because also somebody else is asking a question about could you imagine a world without the internet? Can you imagine a world without the internet? So how would you imagine art, digital art, online, and what would be the optimal way of showing art?
So I guess right now, and most of these digital exhibitions are more of a conglomerate of different artists. And for for me personally, I went to these crypto voxels and the central and the showings, and they're great, but I think it's not there yet. I mean, it's kind of rudimentary. It's also amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, but I think there's a lot of work to be done. Personally, I'm making actually like a 3D exhibition in Unity, but like only mine. It's I lived in a world where I laughed at the comments, right?
Andy, yes, and he also shared another comment about you, which I think is so sweet.
Thanks, Andy. Sorry. So yeah, for me, it's really difficult to. We are not there yet. I think with VR headsets and technology getting better, eventually art will be experienced in an amazing way. Also, multimedially, because with VR headsets and virtual exhibitions, you can also integrate music and projection and sculptures and animations. And I think that will be absolutely amazing. And I hope to be a part of that soon. But right now, I'm thinking about how to show my pieces in the real world, to be sincere. And I know that's kind of not not well seen. Like we live and we fight and we die for virtual worlds. But if I had to tell the truth, I'm really thinking about showing my pieces in the real world. And no, I can't think in any way of a world without the internet. I live with internet my whole life.
Challenging, especially during lockdown.
Yes, I mean, I spend like 15 hours a day on my computer, so it's really difficult for me to imagine that.
Yeah, totally. I think many of us are in a similar situation, but I can also tell you that I lived in a world without the internet. And I agree with Andy. It was actually okay. So you can do without.
I'm sure it was better. I mean, I spend 15 hours a day on my computer, but I also spend like 6 hours a day on Instagram, which is not cool at all. I mean, I wish there was no internet sometimes.
Yes, that's a great challenge,
time,
challenging question for ourselves.
Yes. I mean, but if it weren't for the internet, though, I would be making art, but I don't think I would be making anything similar. Everything I learned from the internet. I mean, I don't know what even my interest would be like if it weren't for the internet. I mean, that's a conversation for another day, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, why don't we go back to the other work you recently added onto your NonOrigin collection? I think it was
This one?
That one, yes. Because I think this one shows perhaps, or at least in my opinion, I can relate to these work in the sense that it can maybe tell us a bit more about our experience with the internet in a way. You can also read that as one of the different layers perhaps that these work adds to the conversation of identity and surrealism.
I'm sorry, the one I was showing before wasn't finished. I'm sorry. It's this one.
Oh, no worries at all. I didn't actually notice the difference, so you were good enough to swap it.
So I'm sorry. Would you mind repeating the question? I was looking for the finished one.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry at all. No, I was saying that these work, I think one of the layers that I can read into this work can actually relate to the nature of the internet, because I can see this form of isolation and identity, but at the same time, there's somebody there in the spotlight being touched and being seen and on stage. So to me, it feels a lot like being online, being on social media. So I just wanted to connect that thought we had just a moment ago with these work, because I can see these two humans or semi-humans in the background, but also somebody there in the spotlight in the middle of the scene, taking stage and taking the attention of the viewer. So what is these work about? Tell us.
Yeah,
what is it about for you?
I think you summed it up quite nicely. I mean, it's when I was making it, I really didn't think about social media. I was thinking about life in general. And it's funny, these bald white men, they have a very bad rep in 3D art world, but it's a part of the concept. So the description of the work, I think it's who are you playing, or who are you trying to be. So I found myself this couple of months being an artist. It's very, very new for me. I'm not only an artist, but a 3D artist. And people refer to me as a 3D artist. So kind of inherently, I started to say, okay, I'm a 3D artist now. I should play my part. But at the same time, I only been making 3D art for like a couple of months. So I usually paint or take photos or make music. So when I was making this piece, I was thinking about a lot. Like I'm playing a role, like I'm very new. It's kind of weird. So these bald men, which get a bad rep, is because they're really used. So like putting them in the work means, okay, I'm playing the role of a 3D artist because almost every 3D artist uses this bald man. So it was a
We've
joke.
seen them a lot.
Yeah, that I kind of hate them too. I don't like. I think they're ugly. They represent nothing. They don't look like humans. But like by putting them there, I accepted my role as a 3D artist, and I said, okay, maybe for a couple of months, I'm a 3D artist. I'm on the stage. Like my friends are very proud of me, and because I'm making money because making art, and my family too. So not because of the money, right? But because I'm getting this attention. So right now, I feel like I'm on stage as a 3D artist. So that's the story about this piece.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's interesting also the fact that you use something that is so used in 3D art and often devalued because it is probably something that people also used for learning purposes. But then you put it into a context where there's an actual story going on, and those dehumanized 3D figures of humans actually take an identity for themselves, and it's kind of like giving them a life that they never had before, or in a way they've been removed from. So I think
Exactly.
what you're doing here is extremely fascinating, because at the same time having these two figures sort of facing each other, it also creates a connection that often is not there, simply because the humanity from those figures has been removed. They've been,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
So that's an interesting one. Thank you. There's I'm just checking now on the comments here. So Manuela is saying, can't wait to know how we will interpret art through VR headset. So question for you, VR. Have you
Yes.
tried that? Would you see your work in VR or creating in VR?
I've never seen my work in VR. I'd love to. I had a couple of experiences with VR, and I'm completely fascinated. I'm actually buying like an Oculus Rift right now. I think it'll come like in a couple of weeks. I honestly believe it's the future of, I don't know, I'm not sure if art, but entertainment at least for sure. But I see all of these artists creating art with VR. There's this Argentinian artist who's completely amazing. He's called Lucas Aguirre. He makes these pieces. I can't even describe them. Please, if you're watching, check him out. And so he really inspires me. I'd love to make art with VR. I think, like I said, I'm not sure if it will be like the future of art, but entertainment. And by entertainment, I also mean like art shows or exhibitions. I think when this technology will be accessible to everyone, right now is kind of expensive or difficult to understand. When it'll become a household item like our computer, like I don't know how much time we have left for that. I mean, 2 years, maybe 3. That will change absolutely how we entertain ourselves, I think, or how people think about the. I think it's interesting. I think people will change how they make art because of people having this VR headset. So and how it will be shown. So I think it will change art in the future.
And do you think that these might cause some form of alteration in the way we behave in groups? We may go into a museum or into a gallery with a friend or with a group of people. And so by looking at each other, we'd somehow connect or respond as a natural response, as an action and reaction from somebody else. Do you think that VR is going to remove that, or is going to maybe enhance that in a virtual world?
I think yes and no. There's nothing like human interaction and being present with someone you like and love. But at the same time, these couple of months, we've seen that, I mean, with the pandemic and staying home, we've seen that we can communicate anyways. There's technology. Everything works amazingly well. You can talk. You're in the UK. I'm in Argentina. We're talking like nothing is happening. I mean, like I said, there's nothing like human interaction. Museums are going anywhere. There's nothing like going to a museum with a loved one or a friend. I think that's amazing. But at the same time, I think when everyone has a VR headset and you can talk to virtual people, there will be a difference, but a noticeable one. But you can live with it. Plus, there's so many advantages of going to a museum in your house. I mean, first of all, you're in your house. You don't have to go anywhere. You're comfortable.
It's sustainable on the environment as
of course. You can see animations and sculptures and walk around them, and VR will bring a lot of interesting things that only time will tell. I mean, making predictions right now, it's not responsible for me neither. So
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
see.
I think it's, these are all great speculations we are having simply because these year really put every one of us in a place where maybe we could have never imagined to be in our life.
Yeah, of course.
So it will be interesting to see how these will evolve in the upcoming years.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
What I was talking about, the impact of the highly unlikable. I mean, nobody was expecting this, so it had a huge impact. Like, but if tomorrow is raining and it rains, it rains. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. There's another question from your dad, if you don't mind me asking, but it's a great one. So, what things or emotions inspire you?
It's really funny. I'm sorry. Um, Thanks for the question, Dad. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, usually when I make a piece, I just sit and start making it. It's hard for me to, see something and then, oh, I'm inspired, and then I make something. Inspired. To me, inspiration. It's a skill to have too. I mean, obviously you can be walking on the street and then you're hit with an idea and you get home and you make it. But I think the more you make stuff and the more you know which things you like, and the more you know how you work and be comfortable with your tools, I think inspiration is unavoidable almost. And of course, there's artist blog, and it could be like a month or two that you can make anything, and that's okay. I mean, to make a piece, for example, this piece, it took like a couple of weeks to finish. I think 3 weeks maybe. So, to me, I just sit and then start making, and then inspiration will come or not. I mean, inspiration, I think there's like this, it has this connotation of being completely necessary to make art, or without inspiration, you can't make anything. But, people work in offices all day and they don't need inspiration for doing that. I mean, you can make art without being inspired, I think. If I have to say the thing that inspires me the most is maybe music. I mean, it's very usual for me to be listening to music and then having the need to make something, like it's a physical thing too. Or and also looking what's around me and what my friends are talking about or what's happening or my relationships. That's what inspires me the most, I think. But as I said, it's not absolutely necessary to make something.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, and thank you to your dad for the amazing questions tonight. Slane is asking, who would you like to collaborate with the most?
I'm not sure, Slane. I mean, there are so many great artists right now. I admire most of them. I think collaborations are great. I made an amazing collaboration with a friend, with someone I met through this crypto art world, and now I think he's my friend. He's called Paquito. He's on Super Rare. He's pretty cool. We made an amazing collab. I think I have it here.
Oh, nice.
So collabs are an interesting thing. I've seen. I don't mean to talk badly about them, or some. I'm talking in general. I've seen some collabs that are like, collabs just because of collabing, not because you have an idea together and you work together and you create a concept. So if I'm collabing with someone, I need to talk to them for like weeks and be comfortable with them and develop an idea. So first I need to meet someone I'm interested in collabing, and then I'll do it. Because of course I'd love to collab with hundreds of artists. Like I love to make a collab with, I don't know, Frenetic Void or Oki, but I won't do it just because of the hell of it. So right now, what I really like doing right now is making music for other artists, and so that's a collab I like doing. Like that doesn't really need a lot of talking in between, because it's just a feeling thing. Like people will send me finished videos, and I make what I feel like goes well with it. So that's I recently I made a collab with a girl named Erin. I think she's 13. That's crazy. She's really young.
Wow.
She's really talented. It's on my Twitter, and that's something I'm really enjoying doing. So yeah, I would like to collab with anyone who is up to sticking with me, like I'm talking for a couple of hours.
Definitely,
not-
yes. I think having that connection is so important, even if it's online, if it's virtual, but having that moment where you share your thoughts and you connect in a way, it's essential for collaborations.
Yeah. I think this collab with Facu came along really well because we found ourselves in a really nice relationship, like mainly about art, and we talk a lot. I mean, we talk almost every day. So I think this collab came out really well because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's wonderful. I didn't see this work before, so I'm very pleased to see it here. And what is it called? What's the title of it?
It's called Otredad. I think it's called Otredad, which means in Spanish. It's a weird word in Spanish too. It's mean like the other, but the other in the sense of everything. Like I mean, like a Coke bottle that's right there. It's an Otredad of me. Everything that's not you, it's an Otredad in Spanish.
Interesting. Yes, it's a great title. Next one for you. Are you going to exhibit in Buenos Aires?
Yeah, of course. If I get the chance, if I get the chance, I would really love to do it. I mean, yeah.
And that would be a great occasion for everyone to come and visit you.
Yeah,
and come and see your work in real life.
Yeah, I meet every Argentinian artist. I think right now there's like 30 or 40 or 50 in the crypto space. I mean, we'd love to, not only people to know us, but I want to know personally a lot of people that I don't know yet in the real life.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so before we conclude, I have a question about the future. So
Okay.
Once this situation will be, a bit more manageable for everybody, what would you be planning to do as an artist? And this is more, general in the sense of like music, video games, digital art, crypto art, anything. So what are your plans?
That's a oddly difficult question for me because I tend to not think about future a lot. There's this amazing musician, very famous, one of the most famous musicians here in Argentina, called Spinetta, Luis Alberto Spinetta, and he has a song which says in Spanish, right? It says, I'm not tied up with any dreams right now." So I try to not get tied up with plans or future, or I try to live what's happening right now and enjoy it as much as possible. Of course, I love to make exhibitions, and I think about, moving out. I live with my parents right now, so I have those thoughts.
You should have invited your dad on screen.
Next time I'll invite. So but at the same time, the best plan is it's being lucky. So I try to not think about much in the future. Work as much as I can right now. I love to make exhibitions. I love to meet new artists and get inspired by them. But I try not to get too caught up on planning.
Sounds good. Yes, I think living in the moment and staying connected with who we are and what we are, it's essential. But I thank you so much for this wonderful conversation we had tonight. I wish we had more time to go through every single one of your work and having a conversation about it. But I wish for this conversation to carry on online, on social media or anywhere where we can connect with one another and keep sharing the wonderful work of Lenny. So just taking a moment to really say thank you to you, Lenny. Well done to all the incredible work. You're such a talent, 19 years old, and we're looking at stunning work here tonight. And thank you to everyone who shared a comment or asked a question. It's so wonderful to see, the engagement and it feels like the room is being filled. So it's wonderful, even though we're not close, but we do feel close to one another. So thank you all so much. And thank you to MoCDA and NonOrigin for putting the Behind the Screen series together. Lenny, thanks a lot. Is there anything you'd like to share before we conclude this talk?
Thanks for having me. I'm really glad we did this. I'm not nervous anymore. I think I can go relax a bit now.
And you can call yourself artist with capital A, okay?
Let's see how it goes. I mean, thank you so much. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
I had a great first interview.
Super. I'm so pleased that we did this for the first time. So everybody who watched this tonight, please feel free to share it with your friends and tell everyone about this conversation we had and share Lenny's works if you enjoyed it. Thank you, Lenny. Speak soon. Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Goodbye.
Bye.